Like, this is definitely my fault. I definitely was just like,
What?
yeah, Charizards are really scary. Oh.
No, I don't blame you. It is the way with Korean qualifiers that they're very, very
Hmm.
quick about just getting back into the game. So, anyways, I guess you stay over there, and I'll be guessing this one. It is on Deadwings. Game number 2. We have San up 1-0, and he is spawning in the bottom right position as the red Protoss. Yo, we flash wolf San. In the upper left as the blue Protoss. It's SKT's Classic. Oh, Deadwing. I think we actually have not cast a game on Deadwing today. Wow, that was one of the maps that I was forgetting about. But whoa, 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 whoa. The mouse, please. But obviously, easy 3 bases, right? Hard to get through this choke. Third base is right there. But in Colossus Wars, you might regret taking that base as, hey, there's a little ledge for the minerals, so your probes will be not so good. So we do usually see this third base taken. In fact, almost always, I'm pretty sure in PvP. And, the rocks will be broken down and all that, but it's not usually that hard. No one finds a timing before you break down those rocks. If they do, then that's amazing, and that's really good for them. I don't really know what's going to happen between these two guys. I mean, that was a macro game. It had maybe some weird, like, proxy paladins from Classic. I was hiding that probe. If Firstman was here, he'd call him the Huck of Koreans, I'm sure. No, I'm just kidding. But Huck does have a way of hiding probes, and apparently so does Classic. But other than that, it went into that, like, kind of evenish game, and San just hit, like, right on time. Right good time. We'll see if it can happen again. Um, Both guys are not, like, even the most macro-oriented people, they gotta have different builds for PvP. You know, like a good Terran always has a 2-racks. Good Protoss always have like a bajillion builds, let's be honest. There's so many different builds in every matchup, well, maybe PvT you could argue differently, but definitely for PvP, a lot of different ways to open, and a lot of situations where proxying is just either very powerful or honestly not that much of a commitment that you can go into it. I mean, Classic only made 1 DT after bothering to get a Dark Shrine, and the game still went on. Long are the days gone where a DT would win a game like one out of every 3 times, or like you died, you should have died if it didn't win you the game, and those are always kind of not the best PvPs to cast, but it's actually a very fast Stargate. So mixing it up here. Unfortunately, the way that PvP goes, the probe has free reign of each other's bases. Until the militia core zone. Even then, it gets a good wraparound because the militia core is pretty slow acceleration. Wait a minute. Okay, good. I was about to say. Okay, great. So, it's not the end of the world, of course. Oh, wow. Oh, now this is interesting, okay? Here's why it's interesting. Someone might be calling an Oracle for Classic and thus getting his own Phoenixes. But Classic knew that San scouted the Stargate, and going for an Oracle now would seem silly, as early as it was. Your opponent could react to it, like I think San just did. So I think what might happen is we have Phoenix versus Phoenix, which is not bad, but I don't think it's as ideal as San would have wanted. Unfortunately, Classic doesn't know that his Stargate's out, but he's gonna figure it out when Phoenixes run into his Phoenixes, and it's gonna get awkward. Guys, Phoenix versus Phoenix fights, if you were around in the Hybrid Pro League, it's all you ever saw. Protoss were so popular in Pro League for actually 2 years, basically. And PvP, PvP Pro League, am I right? There was a lot of Phoenix versus Phoenix. I don't know what it was. It was just a magnet to the Tesla players, but they got weird, Like, it was like watching Muta versus Muta battles back when ZVZ was Muta versus Muta. I think this is also the point where they realize, like, no, this is hallucinations. Like, 6-minute hallucination isn't really common, but it's just like, what? Oh, okay, it's Phoenix versus Phoenix, got it. Okay, here we go. But yeah, a lot like Muta versus Muta. Instead of like, who you have barely more flappy things than I do, it's like you barely have more swivelly things. What do you call phoenixes? I don't know. Than I do, and it gets weird. And you also got to take into consideration like how much you dedicate to the phoenixes. Do you go double Stargate? Do you commit more to the ground army and try and take advantage of the fact that they have phoenixes? If that happens, do the phoenixes graviton beam work out better? Oh, there's so many questions, and it's not so often practiced anymore either. You know, it's kind of hard to practice a game like that without literally telling someone we're both gonna go Phoenix, and then, you know, that's obviously different practice than playing in a tournament. Anyways, I am looking forward to it, but it might be silly. I'm just warning you guys. Even sillier than, you know, pew pew lasers versus pew pew lasers. Which I guess Phoenixes are technically still lasers. They're just like curved lasers. Weird. Weird. Well, 6 Phoenixes versus 5. Classic had barely the edge on him. Mothership Core versus Mothership Core as well. Again, similar to kind of mutas. If you're out of position with your own mutas, queens would be sniped off. In this case, the Mothership Core would be sniped off very easily. So, gotta definitely protect it. I mean, even look, like, the 2 seconds the Phoenixes are just this far away, that Mothership Core could go down really, really fast. And they're producing nothing but Phoenixes. They both expand, and they both get probes. Classic way far ahead, by the way. Wowzers. But they're still just getting nothing but Phoenixes. Actually forces a recall here. I think he dived for some probes. I think he saw a dip a little bit right there. Yep, 4 workers killed, but I think it lost on one of the Phoenixes, so he decided he wasn't going to take the fight. Probably better. It's so hard to look. You know, right now it's like, okay, 6 to 7, pretty easy to count, but once it gets up to like, you know, 12 to 15, it's going to be a lot harder to be like, I definitely have 3 more Phoenixes than you, let's do it. Well, I guess this is going to be an attack from San. Like, he actually stopped making probes entirely. He's stuck at 24. That Nexus is not going to be too useful at the natural, but it might be enough to fake out Classic. Classic, I mean, what could you really, what can you do against this attack? You just gotta go your own Phoenixes again. Like, if you try and stop and go for your own High Templars, you lost out in the Phoenix War. They find out. So, very, very difficult stuff. Usually not the matchup where you have to make sure to keep the unit tab on at all costs, but it really is this tight 8 to 9. Defender's advantage is effectively gone. Like, the footage overcharge was super, super useful, and that's it. The attack will basically be coming as soon as it wears off. Oh, this is dangerous from Classic. I think he realizes it too. I mean, he would be able to kill all of the probes. I don't know if it would be worth it, because he would definitely lose all of his own. Oh, I love this. Okay, so if you do go for a situation like this where you're just going to be like, guys, I'm going to go for it, just pull the probes, give up the Nexus. They pretty much have to kill it, so that's like 5-10 seconds bot for you. And before the Phoenixes pick up the sentry, please force it off. There you go. And that means that all of San's probes will go down, but not his buildings, but all of Classic's probes are saved, but not his buildings. So, I truly do not know what happens. Again, that was the last footage I would ever see. Mothership Core dies instantly. I do not believe there's a blink on any of these stalkers, and the ground army is here, as well as the Phoenix army. These guys can pick up. Don't forget that. So that's like half, that's all of the army, actually. Like, Jesus, there's so many Phoenixes. 11 Phoenixes versus 9 targets. You pick up every single stalker. Alright? He will win this fight. But can Classic win the return fight? I don't know. I really don't think he can. Like, I think it's too late. The decision to go for the probes was cool, and I guess San really can't warp in anymore, but his army is still alive. Like, his entire army. Did he lose a unit in that engagement? I don't know. And now he's gonna lose all of his probes, but... Okay. No. These are still stalkers. Yes, Classic loses this game. He might be winning out in the Phoenix versus Phoenix, but he does not have 8 stalkers. He has 1. That's it. It was a cool move, but unless you could really get like a lot of sentries, a lot of force fields down, I guess you were bound to lose it. And unfortunately, Phoenixes are pretty good at sniping those sentries. So and that does mean that San moves on. This is the last game for Classic, and GG is called. So Fear Dragon leaves me alone for the last game. Destiny is met. I started off solo casting. I ended solo casting. You still here?